In the early 20th century, the Ottoman Empire was experiencing a period of political and social upheaval. During this time, nationalist movements were rising among various ethnic groups living under the empire, including Armenians, Kurds, Arabs, and Greeks. The Armenians, who resided in Anatolia and the Eastern Mediterranean, began to seek political and social rights, raising concerns among the Ottoman government, which feared the disintegration of its empire. In 1915, the Ottoman government made a tragic decision that led to one of the most horrific crimes against humanity in modern history: the genocide of the Armenians. The Armenian people have a history that dates back thousands of years, making them one of the oldest Christian nations in the world. In the 19th century, the Armenian nationalist movement emerged with the aim of improving their social and economic standing within the Ottoman Empire. However, the Ottoman government, fearing these nationalist movements, adopted repressive policies against the Armenians. During this period, a group of nationalist Turks known as the Young Turks came to power in 1908 and began to implement ethnic cleansing policies. With the outbreak of World War I in 1914, tensions between the Ottoman government and ethnic minorities, especially the Armenians, escalated. In April 1915, the Ottoman government began arresting Armenian intellectuals and politicians in Istanbul, marking the start of the genocide. On April 24th, around 250 prominent Armenian figures were detained and sent to concentration camps, where they faced torture and execution. Following these events, mass deportations of Armenians from their homes to remote areas began, forcing them to march long distances under dire conditions. The methods employed by the Ottoman government to carry out the genocide were varied. Many Armenians were killed outright by security forces, while others faced starvation and disease during the deportations. Concentration camps were established in the Syrian desert, particularly in Deir ez-Zor, where Armenians were held in inhumane conditions. Water and food were scarce, leading to the deaths of many from hunger and thirst. Reports of brutal rapes and torture of women and children were also documented. Despite the genocide, Armenians did not vanish without resistance. In some areas, Armenian armed groups formed to defend themselves. One of the most notable of these groups was the Armenian Fidei, who organized operations against Ottoman forces to protect Armenian communities. However, these efforts were insufficient in the face of the Ottoman military's overwhelming power. In many towns and villages, entire Armenian communities were wiped out, and the social and cultural ties that bound them together were destroyed. By the end of World War I, it is estimated that about 1.5 million Armenians had been killed, and many survivors were displaced. The genocide left deep scars on the Armenian identity and led to the dispersal of Armenians worldwide. Many survivors fled to neighboring countries such as Syria and Lebanon, where they established new communities. The collective memory of this genocide remains alive, as Armenians continue to seek international recognition of their suffering. Over the decades, there have been calls for recognition of the Armenian genocide by various countries and governments. In recent years, some countries, including France, Canada, and the United States, have begun to acknowledge the crimes committed against the Armenians. However, the Turkish government continues to deny the genocide, making this issue a significant point of contention between Turkey and Armenians. This denial is part of a broader historical and political conflict that still affects international relations. The Armenian Genocide of 1915 stands as one of the darkest chapters in modern history. This event serves as a stark reminder of the dire consequences of nationalistic hatred and intolerance.